your other units didn't move too much, did they?
Not really. I just wanted to make sure I had range for certain spells. I also kind of wanted to see what you were going to do. I wanted to try and be able to charge your Great Unclaimed One as soon as I could, so I tried to leave my general. I kind of took him out of the unit because that thing's on a balancing on that hill, and he would easily topple it, so I just put him next to the unit, but he's in that big empty place for real.
Yeah, I will take a moment right now just to apologize for the quality of the pictures. It was getting a little late, and I set up the lamps incorrectly for the lighting, and a lot of these pictures came out either completely saturated or just blurry due to the drink. But you can still follow the report pretty easily.
So I rolled pretty bad from that. Oh, because I used some of my dice here to get rid of Doom and Darkness because we don't pay attention.
Yeah, you had a 4 dice phase for the magic phase.
And then I tried to cast Warp Blending on 1 die, and with my level 2 and his level 4 met my result.
Oh,
and then that was it.
Handily, and then Doom and Darkness got dispelled.
Which was pretty awesome for me, really.
Yeah. Yeah, in the end it kind of washed out as to who got the advantage. Yeah. He was wasting power dice, but I was losing the opportunity to panic his guys off, so it kind of evened out.
My catapult fired and scattered a little bit. I think I ended up with like 4 hits, of which I ended up killing 1 guy.
Yeah, not too good. Your gutter runners did a lot better, though.
I think they put a wound on the fiend, but I think that's off the side at this point. So
yeah, I think actually 2 wounds this turn, and then
next
turn I get the final. So he passed turn, and I declared a charge using these new line of sight rules on the Doom Wheel with my Furies. You can hardly see it, but if you look true line of sight, you can just see little tiny bits of it through the middle of those slaves.
Yeah, slaves not as good of walls they used to be.
Yeah, especially if they were the GW slaves, then there'd be no question I'd be able to see.
Yeah, the little short guys.
Yeah. Although I'm sure they'll update that, and I think GW officially said that any of the clan rats who don't have armor can be used as slaves.
Yeah, they just kind of mix them in now.
Yeah, size-wise, you can go for it that way. I declared a charge with my Nurglings on the giant rat, which I didn't think he'd see coming, because the Nurglings under 8th edition have a really easy charge, but under 7th had a really hard one. Did you see that one coming?
I wasn't sure if you were going to. I didn't that much care. I figured if we could tie up unit, like if I could trade off units tying up, then I have like twice as many units as you, so I was fine with that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and then go for the flanks.
So yeah, that was the thought. Like I was like, all right, I'll move up. I should be able to stay pretty even with him on this fight. It ends up being very close, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I declared a charge with my horrors on one of the units of slaves, and they did the obligatory reaction,
which was to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, flee. So I didn't even try to run them down. I just rolled my leadership and tried to redirect into another unit of slaves who I was combo charging with the Fiend. You guys held on this turn.
Mm-hmm.
The Fiend made it in. The Horrors didn't. They had a really long shot. The reason why I wanted to misdirect is because I didn't want to end up in that Blood Forest, which I would have if I would have pursued that first Skaven slave unit. So at the end of the movement phase, all that really happened other than that was some Furies move up into his backlines, and I moved up my Bloodletters.
And if you look very closely, you'll see something that Matt didn't, which is my big unit of Plague Monks on the rock. He apparently forgot it was there.
Yeah, we'll get to that on the next turn. So the Mystery Forest Wildwood, I don't think we mentioned that, but it didn't do anything.
It did a couple. It offset some of the Nurgling base that you made one turn.
Yeah. So one turn it affected a Nurgling base. In the magic phase, I cast Doom and Darkness off against that same Clan Rat unit again. Again, it was a Remains in Place spell, and I failed to get off my Firestorm spell on his A-bomb.
Yeah, I'm not usually a fan of taking 3 to 4 wounds on him before he gets into combat.
Yeah.
And has moved up 3 inches, so...
Yeah, that would have been a pretty huge swing if I had gotten that off. I thought for a moment that you might have tried to dispel it, or the Doom and Darkness, but that scroll stayed on you. In the combat phase, My Furies went up against that Doom Wheel and failed to friggin' wound, which was a real bummer because I felt like I should have won that combat.
Yeah, you should have, but then once you didn't kill me, I figured I should like wipe you out. But then that didn't happen either, so we just kind of sat there for a little while.
In my mind, I thought you did D3. I thought you did D3 grind attacks. I didn't realize it was artillery die, so I was really upset when you said, "Oh, where's your artillery die?" Luckily, you rolled a 2, and nothing really happened, and we had a tied combat because one for the charge, one for a wound that you did to me. In the combat with the giant rats, though, I put on 4 wounds, and I had the charge, and that
I did a
won
couple
it for
wounds
me.
back, and he made enough ward saves. I think you ended up winning by 1, because I think I killed 1 base, but you ended up winning by 1, and for the charge bonus. And then I actually, I failed. I rolled a 10, so I was out.
Did not run you down, unfortunately, which makes me wish that I had reformed almost, but it did take me out of range of those sensor bearers, which was pretty awesome.
It was very key, as we'll see in a second.
In the combat with the slaves, my Fiend did pretty terribly. I killed 1 guy.
You killed 1 guy, and I think I did a wound back.
Yeah.
And then I won. And you rolled low enough not to take any
yeah, I think I was testing on a
instability.
6, and I had to re-roll, so that's nothing too bad for demons. And here it becomes evident how crazy I was. This is where I noticed those plague monks up on the hill and realized that my bloodletters were in for a world of hurt in just a moment.
So now it's my turn, and I decide I'm going to charge. My Plague Priest drinks his potion of strength because I figure either that'll keep him from moving over, or if he does move over and somehow fails to kill me, I should be able to kill his BSB back, and I need to get rid of that -2 leadership banner because it will start to really get in the middle of my army if I don't get rid of him. I also charged his Fiend with my rat swarms who were hiding back there just to try and get a little bit more static and pop him. And unfortunately, because my rats ran away, I was going to hopefully charge the sensor bearers into the flank of the Nurglings, but I can no longer see them, so my only target is the Great Unclean One, unfortunately, which is like the only thing on the table I didn't want to fight.
And you failed your leadership.
Yeah, and I failed my leadership check, so I was going in, and then I make it, so I rush right in there.
Yeah, so all your charges go in, which is, I guess, is lucky in some events. The Wildwood did have an effect this turn. I killed one of your sensor bearers.
One of my sensor bearers got attacked by some insects or something like that in the woods and died. The Abomination, I was just trying to move it up out of line of sight to try to get on the other flank of the Bloodletters to hopefully smash them next turn. I ended up rolling a little further than I wanted. I think I rolled like a 14 or 15, so I just run up right in front of the horror unit. So I didn't know if Matt was going to charge me or not, but hey, he's out of my control, so
yeah.
We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, compulsory, man. They don't call it compulsory for nothing. And what else did you do for a moment? Just a lot of shifting, really.
Yeah, a lot of shifting around. I decided not to charge in my general's unit into that Fury fight, because I'm trying to reorganize him so that I can try to make sure I see your Great Unclean One when he comes out of the woods, so I can try to smash him with my Fellblade. Mm-hmm. Although I did take a wound from my Fellblade on this turn, so 1 down. The Gutter Runners stick where they are to try and hopefully get a few more wounds on that Fiend and kill it. During my magic phase, I just tried to cast Crack's Call at the Great Unclean One, which he threw all his dice at, and then I actually failed to get Scorch off. So.
Yeah, I needed to make sure that Scorch... No. Crack's Call you didn't get
Oh,
off.
that's right, I failed. Yeah, that sucked.
I would have tried to throw a scroll at Crack's Call because I absolutely needed to make sure that didn't go off. Right. 1/3 chance of losing my Great Unclean One. I could not have that at all.
So in this combat, Great Unclean One is actually faster than them, and surprisingly made his toughness test not to take a wound, and then proceeded to smash them pretty good.
Yeah, I think I got 5 on my, or 4 on my attacks, and then the stomp killed the last one.
Yep.
I almost wish that I had only killed 4 of them so that I could have run them down and got myself in a better position. But unfortunately I didn't, and I reformed to face kind of more into the battle.
And this time he managed to actually wound me, so I died.
Yeah, in the combat of the Furies versus Doomwheel, I was able to do that final wound and just reformed to face the rats. And I was hoping to actually declare charge on the play called Catapult, but I ended up coming up with a different idea during my turn.
This combat ended up going. It was pretty interesting, actually. He moved his herald made way to come over to fight my plague priest, and made his attacks. He has hatred, but I had the rival high talisman, which I used, so we just agreed just to let the first roll stand. Unfortunately for me, he hit all 3 times, and then did 2 wounds and killed me. So that was the end of my strength 8 plague priest for the turn. So he ended up killing 3 more guys with his unit and his juggernaut, and then I killed 2 back and was charging down off the hill. I ended up winning, and then you ended up failing.
Yeah.
Losing 2 guys.
Yeah, it was pretty decent roll for me, really. And the bummer of the thing was twice I tried to reform, and twice I failed by 1.
Yeah. Yep.
So I couldn't face you, which it would have been huge having those extra attacks against you. In the fight with the Skaven slaves, it didn't go all that badly. I didn't lose anything to combat res, and you won by like 1 just on virtue of the charge and the flank, I believe.
Yep, and you just killed 2 guys, so we just hung out.
Well, for my turn 3, I declared less than obvious charge. I had my Great Unclean One charge some slaves that were staying there between the 2 forests, and he, of course, panicked. I'm not sure if you chose to panic or if you failed your terror chest.
I think I actually failed. Because
Yeah.
you had me roll that one ahead of time, and I rolled like an 11 or something. So.
Yeah, so you ran away. A lot of times in 8th, when someone's deciding whether or not they're going to flee, I'll just say, well, it's not really up to you. Roll dice first, and then we'll see if you need to think about it. In this case, I don't think you had to think about it. My fiend declared a charge against the Gutter Rudders, which was a huge mistake because he only had 1 wound left, and they were able to do it to him.
Yep.
The stand and shoot blew him up, and I should have used him a lot more cautiously and moved him around. Oh well. I also declared the Abomination, thinking those flaming attacks would be enough combined with my combat res to win the combat. And I had some big plans for how I was going to get him to run away. One of them was the fact that he was within 12 inches of my -2 leadership banner. So Stubborn 6 doesn't mean a whole lot on 2 dice.
This just in, -2 leadership still good.
Yeah.
20th edition.
Oh yeah, still good. By the time this airs, Corey Reynolds will not be able to reject my list. Thank God.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, well, compared to some of the stuff out there, it's not that bad, but I think it will be above the average list at Crossroads.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see how many techless lists you end up playing against.
Yeah. My Furies charge the rear of the Skaven slaves, just hoping to add a little combat res there, get the +2, and I was probably going to get a couple of wounds. I failed my charge with my Great Unclean One, and he just moved forward a little bit, and my Nurglings reformed because my Furies were set up to pull his clan rat unit forward. And I was thinking kind of 7th edition terms where they were going to charge into the Furies, and of course they're going to beat the Furies, but then they're kind of stuck there. And if they overrun, they get hit on the flank with my Nurglings, and if they don't overrun, they get hit on the front with my Nurglings, which really, for me, it's almost just as good, because those Nurglings just want to get in combat. They don't care against what.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's some slaves running away back there in the distance. They were actually from the other side of the table. They just did a lot of bubble bouncing to get out there.
Yeah, I think they ran like 12, and then ended up catapulting him through like 4 units, and then they ended up way over there.
And they're out of the general's range, so
they're
they
gone.
continue.
And the giant rats actually failed and ran off the table as well.
Yeah. So at the end of the movement phase, I didn't really have anything else to move because everything was committed at this point.